So I called you the other day and I told you about a post that I saw while I was driving in the car. And I think the way I presented it to you was I was like, okay, so I found an incredibly uncomfortable question that was shared online to ask your partner. And I didn't tell you how uncomfortable it was going to be, but I mean, you heard it was five incredibly uncomfortable questions to ask your partner. And so the question went like this. What's something you miss about your ex when we argue? Now, I thought to myself, like, if that's incredibly uncomfortable, then we've missed the mark maybe on this podcast. Maybe we've like gotten or thought that the questions that we talk about and the things we talk about were uncomfortable, and maybe they're not. But then I did what you do, and I went to the comments, and I realized that I was a sane person. Like, I'm actually a sane person, and I'm not tripping. My Richter scale wasn't broken because I thought that question was diabolical. But that's where I began to read, and people were like, okay, that first question is not strengthening any bonds, was the first comment. That first question is wild. Hell no. Oh, wait a minute. This is better. Oh, hell no. And there were just a bunch of emojis, laughter emojis. And I think that some of the other questions that followed weren't as clickbaitish or as traumatizing as that first one.
Traumatizing is a great word.
Yeah, I think traumatizing is truly something because if you break it down, like the question says, what's something you miss about your ex when we argue? So it's something you would ask another pet question, another person. And it's almost like when we argue, which I will take that people were saying, okay, the worst part of a relationship is when we argue.
Right.
So when the worst part of our relationship,
what are you missing?
What are you missing about your ex? And I was like, yo, how no, I'm not. I wouldn't ask that question to you.
You can ask. I'm not answering.
Okay, that's fair. But not because it's like you're trying to hide something from me. You're not answering because of what?
Oh, why wouldn't I? I see. Okay. I'm not answering because of what? Probably because I feel like the genesis of the question, like the purpose of the question is one that's rooted in dysfunction and one that's rooted in comparison and one that like it's not going to yield good fruit, right? Like,
yeah.
And I think in our questions to one another as partners, I think you should strive to yield good. Like if we're trying to strengthen a bond, it should not be one that then is asking you to compare me to someone previously.
Come on. Yeah, no.
And so I think that like when you say it's diabolical, it's and they're right. It's the absolute opposite of strengthening a bond. But I do feel like the question is less about the answer and like the reasoning behind why would you even ask that.
That's a good point. Yeah, no.
Like why would you ask that? What would be the reason to ask that question?
I think that for a lot of people, if you're still hung up on an ex and you're in a relationship, then sometimes you can begin to believe that your partner is probably strung up on an ex as well. Ooh. And so that I know, I know, spicy. Look at, is that the coffee sip of, we just got in there. I think that sometimes. So
it's really exposing the person who's asking the question more than even the person who's answering.
It could be an insecurity of like, I feel like I'm with the person, maybe even I'm with the person who I don't even deserve and I'm not worthy of. And so I can only imagine that maybe I was selected as a safe choice. And if I shake up or rock this marriage in any way or this relationship, it could be just a simple boyfriend, girlfriend, they're going to start thinking back about their ex again. and I don't want to argue. I don't want to shake the boat any so that they would miss things about their ex because of what I'm doing. And I think like that can be that I think that's a damage that starts deeply inside of a person who would ask that question. And I think it can be equally damaging for a person to like straight face look you in the face and be like, well, there's some of the things I miss about them. It's like, wait. So you're going to answer that? Oh my goodness. Like, just stab me already. Like, please don't answer it. Just stab me already, please.
Yeah, I mean, but I also think I had a thought and I just lost it. But I do, by something you were just saying, and I'm trying to remember it because I didn't want to interrupt you, but I do feel like the root of the question, the reason the person is asking the question reveals more about where the relationship is than we might believe, right? Like, I don't know who this person is that posted it, but why would you want to expose how it's almost like there is this, I got it. I know what I was going to say. It's almost like in the person asking the question, there is this fear that I'm not measuring up. And so if I can ask this person to strengthen our bond, how I'm not measuring up, then I can fill that hole. I can plug that hole. So when we are fighting, they're not thinking about that. So it's really a control.
Yeah. Or imagine this. Imagine it's like, okay, I'm about to argue with you, but if you can let me know some of the things, or we argue often, but if you could let me know some of the things you miss about your ex, then I can begin to mimic your ex or try to be more like the ex that you had. And this could go two ways, because I mean, you could say, I didn't choose a man to be anything or a woman to be anything like my ex. I chose you because you're everything not like them.
Right.
But if I feel like an argument, and I don't want to say simple because I recognize that arguments sometimes can get really heated, but if an argument can make me begin to dwell on the good parts of another person or the bad parts, I mean, heck, you could say, man, I mean, this argument was pretty bad, but it's definitely not as bad as the arguments I used to have with my ex. I mean, he used to punch the wall. She used to like break glass dishes or whatever the case may be. So I think that,
geez, that's
yeah. I mean, hey, listen, I think there are different extremes to how arguments can look. But if I'm concerned or thinking about, because I like to say that most people would find this question diabolical, crazy, something they would never ask their mate, because this did come from a page where it's called couple quizzes. So it's questions that they offer couples, but for that one to like grab your attention, I'm sure it was just to start off grabbing your attention. But I think that there are some people who are maybe concerned in their relationship of how often their partner thinks about their ex, their partner thinks about anybody but them. And I think, as you may have said, it is like heavily rooted in the fact of there's an insecurity of what you bring to the relationship that has nothing to do with who they've been with before, because it's what you bring to the relationship, which is why they're with you, right. Hopefully.
Right. I also think that there is a tendency in us, and we just talked about this at a leadership meeting, there's a tendency in us to look to the past with nostalgia and only remember like the good things. And I think we can do the same thing in previous relationships as well, and or in our partner's previous relationships. Not really sitting back and acknowledging that like those relationships did not sustain for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, was there good parts? Sure. But there was some sort of dysfunction in that relationship that would not allow it to sustain. And so when we're asking that question, or when we're even, let's just say we're none of us ever have the courage to ever ask that question, or not the courage. We're not, it's not a very helpful question, but we do find ourselves reminiscing or being nostalgic about old relationships. I think, you and I have talked about the phrase, like the one that got away. And I don't believe in that phrase. I don't believe that that's a thing, because again, I think if there was something dysfunctional that allowed that person to get away, whether it was that person, whether it was that relationship, whether that was you, whatever it was, there was something fundamentally that could not be worked through in that relationship or was not willing to be worked through.
Yeah.
And so if you do find yourself, whether it's because oftentimes I think in a fight, they highlight that because you're not, when things are good, you're probably not thinking about the good times with an ex. And if you are, you really should not be with somebody.
Yeah, 100%. Come on.
But
100%.
if in the hard parts, if in the parts of conflict, if in the tensions, you are thinking about an ex or what like the good parts of that, I would challenge you to say like, but be honest about what that relationship was really like.
Yeah.
Be honest about where that relationship really went wrong, because I think that doing that is harmful not only to the partner you're with, but also to you and the expectations that you're creating around a relationship. Because what you're saying is, when it's good, I like this person, but when it's bad, I want that person.
Yeah.
And that's not fair. You're asking someone to always produce good for you.
Yeah. I think even using phrases like the one that got away, or even feeling some type of way about an ex, it's just hit me. I don't think you should even be going into another relationship if those thoughts are crossing your mind. And not to say because you're still hung up on them, but because you're still hung up on something that you will walk into another relationship with. And I say that because I did a lot of that, walking into our marriage initially with a lot of loose ends and a lot of things that I was still tied to and hung up on that got in the way of our conversations, in the way of the way we connected, and a lot of different things. And I think I see how harmful, looking back, a lot of those things were, to still be connected to them and feeling some type of way about them, because it may have just simply been that I didn't want to address it. I wanted to stay connected to it so that it felt like I had I want to say a comparison sheet, but like a sheet to like gauge my next relationship, or what you do and what this person did and how this person did it and what I would like and I want. And it's so crazy because I'm sitting here now and I'm thinking about how like it. I used to have this idea of like, imagine if I could take pieces of everybody and make this one perfect person. That sounds crazy saying that right now.
But it's true.
But yes.
But whether it sounds crazy or not.
Yes.
And what I do think happens is because you and I have talked about this, I think when you get, you and I, as much as we love each other and we're attracted to one another, our dysfunction's attracted, because I also was a person of, well, I don't want you to leave, so I'm going to, when you give me feedback, when you tell me to tweak this, I'll tweak that. I'll tweak it. And so what you end up getting is you end up putting together a Lego man that was never meant to be together, right? Like it's the free-for-all Legos, and you look at it, because our daughter does it all the time, and you're like, yeah, that looks good. But like, and I don't mean that negatively, but it's like, that doesn't look anything like it should. Right?
Yeah.
And I think, and there was a point, and there is a point that I still like have to work on. Like, that's not, you and I have talked about this in therapy, but like that, one, you're not asking that of me anymore. But then two, like that, whether you're asking that of me or not, that I don't need to do that, that we don't. And so I think what ends up happening, even in this question, I think, is that someone is asking of you to basically give you some Lego pieces to piece in so that you can, to make sure you're happy, to make sure that this is. And so when we're saying strengthening a bond, I don't think this question strengthens a bond. I think this question encourages manipulation, number one, but also I think it encourages someone to decide, I'm not going to be me because me's not good enough.
Yeah. You want the X.
Because if I was good enough, you wouldn't even be thinking about that. And honestly, to be completely transparent, no matter what someone sitting in front of you does or says or is, if you have not resolved something from that past relationship, it doesn't matter what they do. Yeah.
No, that's true. Yes. That's like I say, tied to what wasn't resolved, how I felt about it, and more importantly, if I could go back and get it right with this next person.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like you're trying to get things right that you couldn't get right in your last relationship with this new person. And I know even as I say that right now, I think about like how in this mental health world, how a lot of us are tied to like, okay, in the next season, I'm going to get it right. In the next season, I'm going to get them to love me. In this next season, they're going to see me and they're going to, I'm going to be my full authentic self. And I was thinking about how like even we've done that with when it comes to like, I used to talk about this often about how like I was looking for not even what my ex couldn't give me, but what my mom couldn't give me in past seasons through you of like, okay, like because she couldn't offer that or because I saw her do that all the time, I was expecting you to do it, even if it was dysfunctional or even if it wasn't you. Like my mom used to wake up every Saturday and cook pancakes. Like, why haven't you started doing that? Like I told you that's what I like. And so we begin to create this version of who we get instead of like saying, I want to get to know you, because it's a lot easier to create you than get to know you. That requires us sit on this couch and doing what we're doing now.
But I also think that it requires a lot more of the other person. Like, so if you getting to know me also requires you to allow me to get to know you. And I think some people don't want to go there, or two, don't necessarily know what that even looks like. And then I think there's another group of people who are like, no, I just want you to tell me, like, just tell me what you want me to be, because that seems easier than bringing their full self, bringing their quote, like, I don't love the whole authentic self thing, but I do, like, I don't love the phrase, but because I feel like it's overused just a tad. But bringing themselves and saying like there's a lot of risk involved. Why are you laughing?
No,
at me?
I thought that was funny that you was like, I don't agree with the full authentic
it's
self,
not that I don't
but
agree
like
with it.
Maybe it's that word and the way people phrase it instead of just being your true self.
Yeah, I think when people, I think what I have seen is people have excused bad behavior or hurtful behavior because it's their authentic self. That's what I don't love.
But but don't get me going though. Like, wait a minute now. Like sometimes when people show up and they bring a very toxic or ugly dynamic and say it's my authentic self, maybe they're being honest, and that
no, I do think it is, but I don't think that gives you a reason not to grow. I think that's where I don't love.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't love how people will quote unquote bring their authentic self and be like, well, this is just who I am, and it's like, you can bring I can bring my authentic self to you, right? But I'm not bringing my authentic self to you to stay as I am. Like there are parts that when I come to you, there are parts that as a partner, you're going to call me to higher. You're going to say, hey, Amber, well, no, you disagree?
So this is what I would
maybe
say.
I don't understand authentic self then.
Yeah. No, I would say this. One thing I'm still consistently learning is that transformation in me and throughout me of growing higher from my authentic from the version of me, because I want to say it's my authentic self, because the truth matters, people use that and they don't know who they authentically are. They know the last version of themselves that they created. And so I would say that being your full authentic self is the version of you that was authentic to you before everybody started saying, well, we don't wear this anymore, we don't talk this way, or we don't do this. It's the rough draft. It's the version of you that God created. And so when we say, well, like, people should challenge that and change you, I truly believe that God is the only one who can come in and transform you. But people can point out, people can hold up a mirror.
I guess my thing is, like, and here's that we're kind of going off on a tangent, but real quick,
no, it's cool. That's what we do.
I guess my question is then, when we're talking about authentic self, though, because to act like social media we just talked about this with our son the other day, to act like that social media, that the friend groups, that the things that the music we're listening, all of that is taking us out of quote unquote maybe our authentic self.
Yeah.
And we may not be realizing that, right? And so I guess when I say, it's not that I don't like the authentic self, I just think that it's not always helpful, because I think some people are not aware of the influences that they have allowed to shape them. And so
And then they're putting, this is just who I am and this is my authentic self. And they're stamping that over top of all the influences of other people.
Right. And so I think that's where I kind of get twisted in it. I do feel like there is this, kind of going back to the question, there is this sense of like, if I bring that to you, are you going to accept it?
Accept what?
Accept my authentic self.
It doesn't matter whether they accept it or not. I think that's. But
I'm saying that's where the genesis, I think, of a question like this comes from.
Yeah. Okay.
It's because it's under the guise of, but I want to meet your needs.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well, it's okay. So I think it's all rooted in an insecurity of who I am and who do you need me to be. That is like when we argue, when you see my ugliest side, when you see me at my most vulnerable. Who do you really want me to be? Because I don't think you would really like me for who I currently am, because I haven't fully begun to like me for who I am and love the sides of me, the vulnerability of me, the areas of my life when I show up in yours that aren't always pleasant, aren't always comfortable.
So I have a question.
Okay.
So we have very clearly
said
that this is not
that one. Yeah.
Like this is not a strengthening bond.
For sure.
What would a appropriate question that
is the question.
Because I think there is a space, right? There is a space in a relationship where you can say, hey, I don't feel like I'm meeting your needs in certain areas. Are there any? I think there has to be a space for that. That is something that, now, do we need to tie it to an ex? No.
Yeah.
But I think, like, what would the question be? That would still strengthen the bond, but also like answer the question. Like, I don't think it's necessarily, as long as it's not asking you to change something, like if it's like, hey, like personally who you are, I think there is a level of like, hey, I am to meet your needs.
Yeah.
Not to meet your needs, but I am to.
Okay, so I think what you're trying to say is like more so like not even like meet your needs, but like, are there things about me that you wish you could tell me that bother you, or you just bite your tongue about in hopes to keep the peace?
Right,
but
and I'm
you
not
feel like
necessarily
you're missing out on.
And I'm not necessarily talking about like partner, like not
it could be any relationship.
No, I wasn't gonna say partner. I was gonna say I'm not necessarily talking about like personality, because like there's some of that where it's like I'm not sure how much of that you can and can't control. But like an instance, you and I were in an argument, and the argument.
Go ahead, I'm listening. All right.
No, but you.
I love how this is starting off. We were in an argument, and you go ahead now. Go ahead.
No, you shared something with me that you were like, I feel like I just keep the peace, and I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, where are you talking about? And it wasn't about me personally, but it was like you take over my side of the sink. But that is like something that I can consciously choose just not to do. I can consciously be aware, like, oh, I am kind of taking over his part of the sink. Let's not do that. Now, that's not asking me, that's meeting something for you, but that's not asking me to fundamentally change. That is literally, like, I think there's also someone who can look at you and be like, you know what? I wish you, I don't know, what's something somebody could ask that will like fundamentally, like, I wish you didn't talk so much. And it's like, okay, I mean, I can try not to talk so much, but a little bit, like, that's kind of who I am. Right, so I think there are differences when we're having these conversations, whether... Like, right,
there's simply some things that like it would be diabolical to be like, I wish you had a different look at times. For
literally like, I wish you were a different race, and that would really be hard.
That's diabolical. That is.
But I'm not saying that. But I'm saying first of all, I have had that experience. So I have been in that situation where someone has said that to me. Not necessarily like that.
We done messed up if we're there. Like, I wish you were just an entire race. Brother, I don't think that's her problem. I think that's your problem. Like, I think that problem started long time. You chose her. Don't forget that. You didn't choose her hoping that she was a scratch off and she was going to eventually evolve, or like maybe she was going to peel back the layers and surprise, I'm African American. Like, no, that was, bro. So don't be mad if like other people are like, oh, well, you know, bro, like, brother, you you should have cared more about black love, brother.
Well,
and it's like,
we're not going to get into that.
I think I should have, like, babe. I'm just saying.
There are things that like a person cannot change. I did go to the extreme. 100,
you did.
But
you went.
I had to find something that
was... Lord, like, and you always get mad at me about the extreme. Like but they gonna cancel us for that one right there. They gonna cancel us for that. We're not even gonna go there today. I love who I'm with, who I chose, and I love our
said that
beautiful
to me.
blended family.
Yeah,
for sure. But it's a real thing, though.
It was a real experience.
You think you just hit on a nerve of some sort.
But it was a real experience for me.
Yeah. I think I've heard that from you before, so I think it hit a nerve. That's crazy.
Because when we met, I did tell you that story.
Yes.
Because I was like, I don't think I could date you because of that. Because you had never dated outside of your race. And I was like, I don't think I can do that with you because I've already had this experience. I'm good.
That's so crazy that we're here right now. Like,
and I'm sitting here saying it for the world.
Yeah. So like screw the last conversation. You know what I'm saying?
No, we're good.
No. Let's go ahead and have this out. Let's just have this one out.
No. There's nothing to say.
I mean, no, it's not. It's not.
No, I was just more saying that I think people can come to you. Like, I think when we're bringing our needs to our partner or when we're asking our partner for something that we feel like we need in a relationship, I think we need to sit back and ask ourselves before we even bring that up or bring that to them. Because I think there has to be a space for that in relationships, healthy relationships. And that does strengthen bonds. Right. And I think you need to sit back and say, am I asking this person to fundamentally change?
Yeah.
Because if I am, then it's either something I need to reconcile within myself, why
100%.
And or this is not the relationship that I'm in to be.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just using this person to fill a void right now, and I'm going to eventually like build a bear this person into like exactly who, how I want, and that gets it can start with something as simple as like, hey, look, I wish you carried your purse on the right side of your body instead of the left. Okay, I can handle that. And then 2 years from now, it's like, hey, look, I wish
you had. I mean, for women, it's like, I wish you looked like that, or and then literally and. Not that if you choose to do plastic surgery on your own, go for it. But to build a bear for a man is very like that pressure. You get it from the outside world. And then when your man sits there and tells the same thing, like, oh, I wish you had a bigger butt, or I wish you had bigger boobs, or I wish you I wish you had bigger lips. I wish you didn't have as much wrinkles. Like all of those things. I wish your belly, all the different things.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of men would say it like that. It's just that comments come out and it's like, okay, like, yes, we all wish we had the perfect build-a-bear body.
Do we?
I think women do. Well, I'll speak for myself. Yes, of course, I wish that I could. Yes, absolutely.
Let's talk about that then.
Talk about what?
Like let's like why you're not happy with exactly what you do have, and I
don't know if it's odd. Like, it's not. I don't know if it's so much that you're not happy. It just feels like you're never measuring up. I don't know if it's I'm not happy. It's that there's this measure that's been given. Maybe not. It's not from you. So I want to be very clear. You have not given this measure. I would say it's probably more societal. And it's funny. You see clips now from like the 90s of like. I don't know if you've this has probably never come up on your feed. But it's like of 90s of different interviewers with different celebrities and how they'll be like, how they will like they used to very much mention their weight and what they look like, just certain things. They would say stuff. And that's what we grew up seeing. That's what I grew up seeing. And so I think like there's a whole, it's called skinny talk, which is on TikTok. It's like how to get the skinniest version of yourself. So I don't want to, when I say I wish, I don't necessarily mean like, I'm willing to go to the extremes, but I think that there is this, I'm never measuring up. I haven't ever done what society or what all the messages around me have said.
Yeah.
So I think that's more what I'm saying. I'm not necessarily saying that I obsess over it and I wish, but there are a very large amount of women who do.
But how often do you feel like you begin to believe that that's not just social media or or what society is pumping into you, but you begin to possibly believe that that's what I want because everybody else is saying that that's what they're doing or that's
How
what they
often?
want.
I would say pretty high. Yeah, like I just take me to a beach somewhere and now mind you look around the beach and about 99% of everybody looks like you. And then you got that 1% and you're like, yep, that's what he wants me to look like. That's what he wishes I looked like. Yeah, for sure. And don't go to a beach that like all the I'm not gonna call them that, women who have had plastic surgery. Don't go to those beaches because then you really feel inadequate because you're just like, they're all around me. But if you go just like to a normal beach.
But I think it's less about what's around you and how the message begins to come to your mind that that's what your partner wants. Like you're looking at things, and this whether it's a man or a woman, you're looking at things, and somewhere along the way the signal goes from this is what people are doing to this is what they want, and they're just not saying it to me, and so I am insecure now about what I'm not and what everybody else is.
But I also think that a lot of women will pay attention to like women that catch their men's eyes or the things that men scroll and like, or the things that men comment on, right?
Yeah.
And like, for instance, this has never happened, but like if you were to comment on, oh, I really like the way that top fits that woman's chest, you would have never said that, right? You've never said this. This is just purely an example. Knowing good and well, if I got that same top, I would have to go get surgery for it to look like that on me.
Moment, I might have. Yes, I have never said that out loud.
But you probably thought about
it. But I have definitely. This is just an honest moment. Like, this is safe here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know what safe is anymore.
I don't know. We'll see.
I have probably saw things and thought like, wow, I wonder if my wife would look as good in that, or like something crazy like that, and not say it out loud, but like, and maybe even this is the crazier part. And I know everybody's probably not say guilty of this, but has done this, has seen something on a mannequin or seen something in a magazine or something like that, and be like, man, I'm gonna buy that for my wife with the expectations, or I'm gonna buy that for my husband with the expectations that we'll fill it out the same way. And there's nothing more awkward than the dude having this like these big muscles, and it's like you buy it and like I don't know it, but like it gets here and you're looking at me and I'm like, oh, this looks good. You're like, yeah, not quite as good as I was expecting, because like the dude there has some big old muscles and like he has some big, huge arms, and it's like, it doesn't quite look like what I was thinking. And I don't know what you were thinking, but like, I think that we've done that before, but that doesn't send a signal, or shouldn't send a signal to your partner that, oh yeah, if you had a bigger butt or if you had bigger arms, that it would, you would be exactly what I want. I feel like this can become so polluted in that we allow even what we see on the outside of our relationship and our marriage to begin to be a standard of what we want instead of a standard of what that person wanted for themselves. And so without knowing, you're like, I bet my husband wished that I looked like her.
Right.
Or I'm like, or I'm like, dang, if I look like what he got on, or man, like if I was as big as him, like my wife would probably appreciate that more. And so, and yeah, so next thing you know, I'm buying a gym membership because it's like, I gotta get like that guy right there, or vice versa. And so, and that's not even because we were putting down hints. Now, don't get me wrong. If you catch me looking at women on Instagram and I'm liking pictures, like 100%. Like if you go back and you start to look at like all the things that I've liked and you start to notice a pattern, you're going to be like, okay, you know what? I think I see what he wants and I'm not that. And man, I can see how that could hurt. And man, I can look back and see how like some of the things I was liking could have hurt you.
Yeah.
And why that wasn't just fulfilling for me. It wasn't just like oh man, I feel better about like all the pictures I liked and all the stuff I saw, but how it was tearing down you.
Yeah.
And all of that. And thinking it was just like, oh, it's not that serious. It's harmless. I'm just liking the picture. I'm just looking, even if I don't like it, I'm just looking at the picture. And it's like, I remember you used to be over my shoulder and you wouldn't really say anything, but like you would just, and not even that necessarily, because the truth matters, stuff used to come up on your algorithm that was just like catch you off guard, like, whoa, okay, like I'm looking at cars, women, and it was just like, how did we get here? But regardless, you were there, you saw it, and so yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how we got here, but
no, I just think how we got here because it was this like, I think the question does have a place. There is a place for the question of. I don't think it's. Go ahead.
I was about to say, I don't even think it's about X anymore. I think it's about.
No, and I don't think it should be when we're fighting either. I think it's, hey, because what happens when you're fighting is all the things that, when things are good, there's still little nuances or there's still little aggravations that are like little foxes, depending on how you look at them, right? That you build up. Mm-hmm. And then when a fight comes, it's like, oh yeah, I'm bringing it out. Like, I'm just going to let them know. Like, oh, and then you didn't do this.
Release the hounds.
And so I think that when we are, I think there is a space to have the conversation, because I think it is important if there are little things. Like if there are things like, hey, it really bothers me when you just leave your shoes out in the middle of the hallway and then I trip on them, right? Like that's something that you can easily accommodate for a partner, and it's not asking them to change. I think it's more kind of assessing those, because I think what happens is when you build those up, I think there is this question of, is my spouse or is my partner looking at an ex nostalgically? And if you've gotten to that point, that means you and your partner have not checked in about where you're at. You know, our therapist always says, hey, have you guys done a check-in? And you and I always look at each other like shocked. Did we do a check-in? But a check-in, it might be, like I said, I think I would like to come up with a question. What would be a question that you could ask, that someone could ask their partner, that is asking like, hey, are there areas that you feel we could improve in? Maybe that's the question. Or are there things that I'm doing that are little foxes that I 1000% could.
Yeah. And
what would that question be?
I would say this. I mean, like, and even how you just posed that question, I think regardless how the question sounds, people have to be willing to want to have that conversation, not from a place of like, whatever you say is going to hurt my feelings because it's going to require work. It's going to require effort. It's going to require something out of me. Why can't you just accept me for who and how I am? I think that we just put up a post how like a lot of these conversations are just easier not had because we don't know how the person's going to take what we say. And it could be simply like, hey, look, I have a need that I need met, but I'm scared to say something or say or bring up the conversation because it could risk this whole relationship. And I don't want to risk this relationship over calling this person higher, calling this person away from something they're doing that's harming me. So should I just keep my mouth shut and spare us blowing up and her leaving, him leaving? I don't want to risk it. And the risk rate, whether it be what you saw on TV or what you saw through your girlfriend or your homeboy,
what you may have even saw with that person.
Yeah. I mean, it's high. So it's a risk nowadays that we are in a time, man, it's just hit me. It's a risk that we are in a time where the answer is always, I'll just break up or I'll just get a divorce. Because when you live in a climate where that is the answer and people are so quick to do that, then yeah, comfortable conversations, uncomfortable conversations go out the window, because all we're trying to do is make sure that we keep people from getting upset, from getting aggravated or getting uncomfortable in the relationship to where they begin to look at other things and other people. And
I mean, I'm not sure this is like I understand, first of all, we've already said this question's not good, but like this was the first question. I don't think that this should ever be like, if you and your partner have not laid a foundation of having uncomfortable or vulnerable conversations, I don't think this is the question you start with.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that,
like, by the way, I don't think you should ever go to this question. Like, I think it should sound different, or be about like, hey, look, have you?
I'm saying even the sounding different.
Okay.
I think even if you did a sounding different, I think to start from a place of what you're not doing kind of sets you up for defensive.
Yeah.
And so if you're trying to build a stronger bond, if you're trying to build a much more comfortable relationship, not comfortable, but deeper relationship, starting from a place of defense is probably not going to get you there.
Yeah.
I think that like right now you could, within reason, probably give me a feedback of an area in which, hey, this is an area that's really been, is causing you, the way you said it when we were in it's causing an area of resentment. It might be small to you. It may not make sense to you.
Yeah.
It may not, it's not some monumental, you're not respecting me. It's that this is an area that's causing resentment.
Yes.
I think those questions need to be, and those conversations need to be had. Yeah. I just don't know if we start with those when you're trying to build that foundation of of a vulnerable relationship and vulnerable conversations.
Okay, so let me just say this. Yes, I'm getting what you're putting down, but what I recognize is that bitterness and resentment, you can hold them off till the relationship is stronger, but no, the longer you hold on to bitterness and resentment, the more it takes form to be this ugly monster inside of you. And so you can say, well, hey, look, I want to wait till 6 months in our relationship before I bring this up.
No,
and
I don't think I'm saying that, but yeah, and I do, and I get what you're saying.
Yeah, 6 months in, it's like, yo, okay, like the initial question was just like, hey, look, whenever we go out and we catch up or anything like that, you always have this desire to want to pay. I'll just say use something simple, and it always kind of gets under my skin because I feel like I'm capable and I feel like it's my job to pay. But I'm now at this point, I've held it in.
Let it go.
And so we go out on a date and you go to reach for your wallet and I explode. And it could have been a conversation like months ago of like,
no,
hey, listen, like,
I think I think you're right. I do think maybe I shouldn't say it shouldn't be the starting point. I think what I should say is maybe there could be a point of, I know what I'm saying.
Okay.
Sorry. I remember I was doing
moment.
I was doing a Bible study, and it was about Proverbs and wisdom. And it was talking about kids, and I even shared this with you. Like, grace and correction are not done in a vacuum. You don't do one or the other, right? Like, grace does not mean I'm permitting behaviors. Grace says, hey, I love you, and this is an area of maybe resentment. And so I think sometimes, I know we make fun of like the compliment sandwich, and maybe don't do a compliment sandwich, but have a positive connection, because it was talking about specifically kids, like teenagers and stuff. Have a positive connection with them first, and then you can have the harder conversation. I think what my thing is, when you go straight in for the hard conversation, I think walls can go up, and feelings like, I just think walls can go up, and it can feel like I'm not good enough. I'm not doing good enough. I should be better. Instead, and in a world where you feel like that already, right, where you might be going out into workforce or in family situations, or even in your own relationship where you just don't feel good enough. Like, because this question is red flag, you don't feel good enough.
Yeah.
Instead of like that being the starting point being, I really love it when you take the time to ask me about my day and like really sit and listen to me.
Yeah.
Is there an area that you really feel like I'm meeting a need in? And then you can go into the resentment area. I just think when you start off with, hey, this is what you're not doing, all that says is, if you would do this, this would be better. And really, that's not the intention of it.
Yeah.
The intention is, hey, how can I show up better as a partner for you? If that's not your intention, because a lot of what we talked today about is control. Like if you're just trying to control your partner, that's a completely different story.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And you're right.
But if you're genuinely like, hey, how can I show up for you better? I don't know if I'm showing up for you in all the ways that you need. And I think furthermore, last thing I'll say is if you're going to tell them about the area that you're resentful in, you better be ready to hear the area they're resentful in.
Right.
And oftentimes
that's not always it's not always a give or take. Some people are just like, hold up, this is about me telling you, like I didn't, and it's so funny because it's like, this shouldn't have to turn into a tit for tat because
you and I said that so many times.
Because I decided to share something and all of a sudden you got so much to say. How much you been, but you know what? That's because I've been holding on to all this stuff and I was waiting for the perfect moment. So since you shooting, I'm shooting back. Like we both shooting, bang, bang.
But how much different would the conversation be? And I'm speaking for you and I, if when we were coming to the conversation to express our areas of resentment or bitterness or areas that we just, hey, I need this to look different. If we came with the approach of, hey, this is where an area I'm seeing, do you have an area? If we actually came, because that's really strengthening the bond. The bond is not me unloading and making sure you know where I stand. That lets you know where I stand, but that doesn't really necessarily strengthen our bond.
Yeah.
The bond really forms when I share hard things and I receive hard things, and both are validated or both are respected. Yeah, that's where a bond.
The receive part. The receive part is the part that takes a lot of maturity. It takes a lot of emotional intelligence of like, I don't think this person wants to hurt me, but I think what they're saying, it stings a bit because it could be true. It could be calling me out of my comfort zone, and it could be an assessment that I didn't think they saw. Like, oh my goodness, you saw that? Like you, when
or
did
one
you
you
see
may
me?
not agree with.
Yeah. No, that's yeah. I think the one that just hit me was like, you saw that? Like, I didn't know you saw me like that. And it's like, yeah, like you'd be surprised, like the mirrors that people could hold up to you when you're doing things that in a way, it makes you feel very vulnerable and exposed.
Yeah.
And as we've talked about and I talk about often, of like, when you're exposed, it's not a great feeling. It's almost like this uncomfortable feeling of I never wanted you to see me that way, and so now that you see me that way, what do I do? Do I just scrap the relationship? Do I run? Do I try to get away? Because they probably don't want me now. They're probably thinking of way. So
yeah, it's funny because I think something that kind of God's been working on with me about lately and in general is like really assessing what correction, like when someone corrects me, what that says to me. Because how I accept or how I internalize your correction or your opinion of something I'm doing is really going to be the lens that I'm interpreting it through is going to guide the way I respond to you. Right. And so realizing that a lot of the correction that the way I view correction and the lens in which I am trying to kind of almost shift, right? Correction for me needs to shift from you're not good enough to like that person's not saying you're not good enough. They're saying like not that you can do better, but more like, hey, here's an opportunity for growth. Now, these are people that I know love me. These are people that I know care about me. These are people that I know are not manipulating me. So I want to be very clear. I think there are people that you have to be very careful with this. But when you are in a solid community, I have friends that if they were to correct me, I know I'm in a solid community that they are correcting purely out of love. And I think you need that in your life. And so I would say if you are having a conversation where it's like a back and forth, and it's not easy, in no way, shape, or form is this easy. But if you find yourself getting defensive, or if you find yourself getting like overly hurt or whatever, figuring out what lens am I interpreting this correction from? If I know this person is coming to me, because 9 times out of 10, I know you're coming to me out of love. I know you're coming to me out of care. And so if I know that, but I'm still interpreting it as harm, my body, my mind, the way I'm interpreting it as harm, that means that my origin of correction, that's the light, or that's the lens it's filtering it through. And so almost going back to that origin of correction of like, How was I corrected as a child? How did I internalize that when I was corrected? How did I respond when I was corrected? And so for me, a lot of times it felt like I was corrected, but I wasn't able to speak up for myself. And so now that I'm an adult, I make sure I can speak up.
Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all know what time it is. Like, you gonna hear my mouth, boo boo. Like, you gonna hear me. Like no, done of them days. Ain't no belts coming out no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, done of them days. Like, we done with that, boo boo.
But I did. I felt like even if it was an unjust correction or like a correction,
for sure.
Yeah, right. Like I never forget.
Kev on stage talks about that all the time. Like, we didn't get to talk back.
No,
we didn't get to share our input. But can I say, like, what are you talking back? No.
Yeah. And I do think we try and do that a little differently as parents.
For sure.
Like, not necessarily accepting talk back, but accepting, like, if they feel like there's a defense that they need to provide to us, like
100%.
It has to be done in a respectful way, in a respectful manner.
For sure.
But I do see how harmful that was as a child, like almost sometimes being punished for things that were like, I didn't even do this.
I wasn't even around this.
Or even
I don't
if I
even
did,
know about it.
Right. Like, I got in big trouble for something that I didn't even, like, I was there, but I was not the one who even started it or did it. Like, I barely participated.
For sure.
And I got in so much trouble.
I'm thinking about one right now, man. You just triggered me, and I'm just like, man, I didn't even get an opportunity to plead my case. I just got tagged on the spot.
Yes.
And yeah.
So I think if you do struggle with, and I've never really thought about this until, like I said, the last last month and a half, but like, struggling with correction, I think a lot of times, it's just your pride, or you don't want nobody to tell you, or did it. And sometimes I think it's no, I go all the way back to 8 years old or 10 years old when I got my butt tore up for singing I Don't Want No Scrub, and I did not teach, and being told I taught it to everybody, and I didn't. They already all knew it.
It's out, ladies and gentlemen. It's out. Like, she's been holding that in for a long time, and all she wanted to let them know was that she didn't want no scrub. And hopefully she got her wishes, but like, it's out there now. Like, she been holding that in for a long time. Anybody else feel it? I didn't even teach everybody. It was my song, and I sung it. No,
I didn't. I did not even start the song, but it came that when it all got back to my parent or my mom, it was that I had taught the entire group of young girls this very naughty song. And I'm like,
ladies, where are you at now? We need you to, we would love for you to fix this mistake. Like, it's been a lot of years. We can clear this all up now. You can correct your own now by reaching out and dropping a comment that, no, it was not her, it was you, and we can make this all right now. It's never too late.
Oh my goodness.
Please reach out to us and let us know. We would love to know the full skinny on this, because she's adamant that it wasn't her.
I didn't say I didn't sing the song. I just didn't teach it to everyone. Everyone already knew, and they were singing it. And yes, I sang it with them. We all knew the song. Anyways, nonetheless.
But you end up being a teacher, though. That's crazy. I would have never ended up being a teacher after that. That would have traumatized me. I'm not teaching nothing.
Yeah, well, then there's that. But yes, so I think that took a left turn. I think the whole point that I was trying to make is that the lens in which you are interpreting your correction from your partner. Maybe you don't like the word correction, but whatever. The lens you are interpreting the feedback from your partner. Because honestly, sometimes it may not be correction. Maybe it's just their opinion or their view of things. The way in which we are interpreting it and the lens we're viewing it, I think, plays a bigger part in how we react than what they are actually saying. Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. I think this whole conversation around, keywords like argument, because that word jumps out at me, and X are so interesting. I mean, and I'm big on like what words in a statement, in a sentence, stand out to you the most. And I think argument already sounds like a negative form of like to some people, what we're doing right now is arguing, because they've never seen a healthy conversation. They've never seen a conversation where it feels like there can be a mutual respect and growth and learning that happens.
Uncomfortable. Like, it's not
for sure.
I think the question is uncomfortable. I don't think uncomfortable necessarily always strengthens bonds. And so I think that's where this question, I kind of get in a loop with it.
Okay, hold on. That question is not uncomfortable. That question is diabolical. Yes. We have had uncomfortable questions that doesn't fit in the conversation. That does not fit in what we are doing.
Yeah.
So I would say that. But
do not have that question.
Yes, do not do that question if you take anything from this. But what I would say is that conversations, uncomfortable conversations look like this sometimes. Yeah. They don't have to be aggressive. They don't have to be a fighting stance. It doesn't have to be like, okay, like, do I get my dukes up? How do I want to approach this? What is my body telling me right now? It's highly spiked, and it's like in a yeah, you can relax and sit into something to say, what am I going to learn about this person? How vulnerable and exposing are they going to be with who they are and who they see me as, so that I can maybe see parts of me that I don't see, and learn something from. And I think, and I, it's funny, recently this thought crossed my mind of like, and I recognize that nobody put this there. I felt it, of that. I can see how sometimes these conversations can seem like either I'm pandering towards women or you're pandering towards men. And I recognize that, like, don't ever get it mistaken. I don't get this stuff right at all. I'm not trying to look like the guy who's mastered this or can have these, because we truly named this podcast based on the fact of, like, I probably don't get it right. I don't have the answers. I have a thought. I have a perspective. But is that the answer for everyone? Absolutely not. Sometimes some of the things that we discuss here, it works great for us. Some people, it's not even about, hey, will it work for you? It's more of, have you even considered like what it could look like for you? Have you considered what it could look like to have the exact same conversation, and maybe ask a question of like, not that one, but like, hey, look, definitely not that one, but like, hey, look, in arguments or conversations we have, how do you see me? And what is the real question or point or ask that you really want behind what we may be arguing about? I don't want to make this about my ex. I don't want to make this necessarily about the past, even though the past is heavily involved in it. But more so, who do you want me to be going forward as we move forward, as we have these conversations these arguments that may not even be about what we're arguing about. Well, you're just really upset because
you said in this argument, like, what, I can't really remember exactly how you said it, but it's almost like what resentment is coming out in the thing that we're fighting about now that has nothing to do with it. Like, how often have we, and maybe I think that's like, when we argue, are there resentment and bitterness points that are coming up that I don't know about, that you could share with me?
Yeah.
Because I think that is one, it takes the comparison game out. Two, it takes the personal, well, you don't do this and you don't do that out. And then, but three, I think it also opens up a space for someone to say, hey, this is an area.
Yeah.
This is an area I'm experiencing resentment with you. And when we're fighting, I feel like that area is just like raw. You know?
Yeah. Nope. That's good. That's
so
real.
I think, obviously, we established from the top, that's not a question. This is not the right question. But I don't think that there's no space for a question that is asking, hey, when we're fighting, like, what's there?
Yeah.
What else is in the room with us?
We got a whole conversation on that one right there,
but we've ended the conversation now.
Spiritualize this conversation.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. That's not what I was trying to do.
I know, yes. But like, yeah, okay, all right, okay. Well, no, this has been good. Hey, we appreciate you guys.
It was fun
sitting in the room with us. Hopefully you took the good and left the bad. Hopefully you took the conversation and left that question. And if that's something you do want to ask in your relationship, I think you should really ask yourself, like, why? Like sit with, like, what is it? What do you feel that your relationship, your partner, is missing that they would rather have in somebody else instead of you, and begin to like maybe have those hard conversations with yourself before you have them with anybody else, of like, what do I feel like I'm not adding or bringing or offering to this relationship. But
it was a good one.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah.
Love you. We did it.
Love you too.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.
All right, see y'all.